Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
This is episode 20 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. Things are looking pretty bleak for the Cincinnati Bengals, who are looking extremely rough heading into a matchup with the 11-2 Pittsburgh Steelers and potentially starting Ryan fucking Finley. The Browns, in bit better spirits than Bengals fans, even though they lost last week. But they definitely need to bounce back in a major way to keep their playoff hopes strong against the New Jersey Giants. So I may regret saying this, but even though it looks like they're getting ready to kick our asses, the Steelers still suck.
The Steelers still indeed suck. Yes,
Yep.
They do. They suck indeed. They do suck.
They suck, but I am afraid the Bengals might like the Steelers suck because we hate them, but I think I'm afraid the Bengals suck because they actually suck. They're just bad. They're a bad football team, and that's not going away anytime soon. Anyway, Thomas, what are you drinking tonight?
Today I'm drinking a Ace pineapple cider. Yep, that's right. 2 weeks in a row, I'm drinking a cider today. I'm drinking an Ace pineapple. I'm sorry, Ace Perry pear cider, not a pineapple.
Oh.
No, it's pineapple or pear. This is a pineapple or a pear? That's a pear. I'm drinking Ace pear cider. That's definitely a pear. My idiot.
I was about to say, that doesn't look like any pineapple I've ever seen.
That's pretty good.
Is it good? I didn't even know they made cider out of things that weren't apples, to be honest with you.
See, I'm telling you, you gotta stop drinking like crappy ciders like Red's Apple Ale or Angry Orchard. There's some really good ciders out there.
Well, fair enough. I'd have to give more a try, but I don't know. I've never really been into like fruit flavors in my beer. But I'll give it a shot. I am drinking a American Amber Ale from. This is, I mean, and just look at this label. There's almost nothing on it. There's like almost no identifying information. It's from a company called Bell's.
Yeah.
Bell's Amber Ale. That's just what they call it, I guess.
Bell's a really good company.
From
really
Comstock, Michigan.
Bell's have a beer called the Bell's Two Hearted. It's really good.
It's called what?
There's a Bell's Two Hearted. It's really good. It's really freaking good.
Can't say that's. I mean, this is good. I wouldn't say it's like Hall of Fame of beers on the show or anything like that, but it's pretty good. It's all right for an amber. Not even the best amber I've had, but it's all right for an amber. But this is not a beer podcast. This is a football podcast. So we got to talk about the Bengals. As much as I don't want to.
Makes you want to drink a beer.
I'm gonna need like 5 beers. I went on Sunday. Monday. On Monday, when we play this game, I'm gonna need like 4 beers at least to get through this game, man. Like, I don't know. I might need a couple of. I might need some help from my friend Jim.
Cincinnati's home that game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to invite my boys Jim and Jack over, and then they might be able to emotionally help me get through this game. Maybe Jose, too.
I'm actually pretty excited about the game Monday.
Oh, boy.
I'm pretty excited about the game Monday.
Thomas, Brandon Allen did not practice today, right? There is a good chance that we will have no choice but to start Ryan fucking Finley.
It kind of sucks because Brandon Allen been looking really good.
We shot. You remember your old head coach Pat Shurmur?
Yeah.
Yeah, we signed his son as an emergency option in case Brandon Allen can't go this week. And we got to have a backup for Ryan Finley. We signed Kyle Shermer to be our emergency quarterback in case Brandon Allen can't go.
It says currently he did not practice.
Yeah.
Did not officially roll him out yet though. But it doesn't really look good.
They're not going to rule him out until
it says he only got a bone bruise though.
Well, yeah, but oh my, holy shit! So for anybody watching right now, if you hear me reacting to anything, the Las Vegas Raiders and Los Angeles Chargers are playing right now, and it has gone into overtime, and it's interesting. And Mariota's already thrown a pretty killer pick that ended up not turning into killer, and almost threw another run right there in overtime. But I guess he didn't.
Right through his hands. Right through both of their hands.
Yep.
Right through two people's hands. You had two chances. Los Angeles, I forgot it's Los Angeles.
And before this game is over, I'll like for the predictions episode, I'll mention later that me and Thomas texted each other, and that's field goal range. Raiders probably got the win. But me and Thomas both picked the Raiders, and I'll show you guys the text when we do the predictions episode. But me and Thomas did both pick the Raiders for this game, and it's looking like it was looking kind of questionable there for a second, but Mariota just brought them into field goal range, so it'd be pretty. Daniel Carlson's a pretty good kicker, so I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't pull this off at this point.
Mariota been looking really good. Oh, freaking Derek Carr's on the sideline. Just chilling in street clothes. Mariota looked good today. I mean, he had 88 yards rushing. My God.
Yep. But anyway, let's get back to we can talk about this later. Let's talk about the Bengals right now. So my thought process with this game is like, if Brandon Allen was playing, I would think that, hey, maybe there's an outside shot in hell because, the Steelers aren't playing well lately. The Bengals, don't look awful throughout the whole game. So maybe there's a chance they can, capture some of that lightning in the bottle and then capitalize on it against the Steelers team that has been, suffering a lot of drop issues lately. Their defense is, at least in their secondary, has been up and down. Ben Roethlisberger's been playing like an old man who, potentially maybe has a few more injury issues than he's letting on.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, the Steelers have, not really had a good win this year, except for the ones against the Browns and Bengals. And everything we've talked about with the Steelers being just, a fake ass 11-0 team.
Yeah.
Now, I would never, in my wildest dreams, begin to think that the Bengals are actually going to win this game. But if Brandon Allen was playing, I would at least have some sort of hope that maybe they'll prove me wrong. I wouldn't pick it by any means whatsoever. I have basically no optimism about this game at all. But I would at least think if Brandon Allen was playing, hey, maybe we can put something together and pull something out of our asses. But if Ryan Finley's playing, then oh man, it's like if I wasn't doing a podcast, I might not even watch, to be honest with you. The only like literally just because of this show that we're doing is going to get me to watch this game if Ryan Finley's playing, because otherwise I don't even see the point. I might as well watch another game and hope that something good happens for my fantasy team, which right now has one single point scored from the quarterback position because my dumbass started Derek Carr.
Like I said, you can't at this point of the podcast, we're shooting on Thursday. The game's not till Monday. So that's actually that's 4 days from now. You still got 5 days to the game.
Yep.
So Brandon Allen has a bruised knee, is what they're calling it. It's the official ruling. That's what I see, unless you see something different. A bruised knee. Now, those knee bruises could be basically, it all matters. It's about getting the information down. Somebody who had a bruised knee and strained MCL himself. It depends. you had a bad offensive line. You're playing against the Steelers. So I'm not sure if I'm Brandon Allen if I really want to test it, but what you gotta do, you gotta get the information now on your knee, basically. If you're a physical therapist and you're watching this, you can help me out with this. 'Cause I'm not. I'm just somebody who had a bruised knee himself. But somebody who had one, I remember the doctor was like, "Oh, you just gotta get information now, and then you can weight lift and you gotta strengthen the muscles around the knee so the bruise don't hurt anymore." And it's kind of like you gotta stretch, and it's kind of intense, but not really intense physical training. But usually that takes about 2 or 3 weeks for an average person to come back from a bruised knee. Like, oh, I bruised my knee. Like, all right, you might be out for a minute. Like, it's not the end of the world, but they're a lot worse than what they like. When you hear, you're probably like, oh, bruised knee, that's a big deal. But no, they can be a lot worse than you think they can be, because your leg can be swollen up and everything. Like, bruised knees can be actually pretty serious. But with that said, he is an NFL player. You have a long week. So right now, instead of practicing, he's probably rehabbing intensely. He's probably intensely rehabbing right now and trying his best to be back on Monday. And if he's able to get that knee, like if he's able to go, if he's able to get some pressure on that knee, he's able to get strengthened enough for Monday, then he might be able to go. I'm going to say it's probably like a 50-50 chance, personally. I think that it can happen. I don't know the condition of it. I'm not the doctor, but if it's not as bad as it seemed, then he might be able to come back. But considering the fact that they already went out and got a backup quarterback to back up Ryan Finley, then it looks like he might not play. So originally I was going to be very positive about this game, but the whole Brandon Allen thing got me feeling kind of negative, because Brandon Allen is actually a very capable quarterback. Last week he didn't look that bad last week before he hurt his knee. Ryan Finley is just trash. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust Finley at all.
Yeah, man. Ryan Finley is quite possibly, and this is saying something, but Ryan Finley could quite possibly be the single worst quarterback, at least as far as the way that they play, that I've ever seen put on a Bengals jersey. And I mean, we're talking about guys like, we've had some characters, man. We've had guys like Achilles Smith. We had Paul Justin. We had David Klingler. Now, the main thing about Achilles Smith and David Klingler is, they were both like functionally better than Ryan Finley, but because of the expectations were so high coming in for both of those two, because they were like first round draft picks, and Achilles Smith being the number 3 overall pick, when those guys didn't pan out, it was a much bigger deal than if Ryan Finley doesn't. If Ryan Finley doesn't pan out, it's like, he was a 4th round draft pick, whatever. And we did trade up to get him, but it was low picks. Nobody really cares that much. To be completely honest, I'm totally down with, dumping Ryan Finley next year and, having Brandon Allen as the backup quarterback of the future, as long as he's willing to play backup quarterback for us. But
hey, man, who knows, man? Ryan Finley's still young. It's only his 2nd season. He might find lightning in bottle. He might find Jesus.
Absolute trash, man. Like, we're not even. We're talking about, like, he didn't, like. I didn't even need to see him this year. I could have told you he was absolute trash, not even worth the trouble after his rookie season last year. Like, we were legitimately looking like we were going to go 0-16 until Andy Dalton got his starting job back. And then, Andy Dalton had that big comeback game against the Jets, and then it was something.
Yeah, it's over. It's over for you.
It's pretty much over. And honestly, like, I know I don't want to like be. I don't want to be too like selfish here and just be like, I can't wait for the season to be over so we can just move on to next year. But at the same time, there's plenty of fans out there. There's plenty of teams out there who are, actually enjoying this season. Half of the people who watch this podcast actually are going to be rather enjoying this season. But from a
Half
Bengals
the people
fan
that's on the
perspective,
podcast.
I just and not just from a Kyle Phelps standpoint, I am just so done with this season, man. It is just like I mean, the Steelers won 11 straight games. The Bengals are terrible. My freaking Derek Carr just went down, and I might lose in the first round of my fantasy playoffs with $100 on the line. I mean, like I'm just football wise, I am not having a good season this year. Um, and the Bengals are not having a good season at all this year. Um, I mean, the one thing to look forward to, I think, is the fact that, given that Zach Taylor almost definitely is going to stick around next year because that's pretty much the Bengals' MO. The Bengals are likely to have another good draft because they've had good drafts under Zach Taylor so far. There's a good chance that they'll be aggressive in free agency again because, they did it already. And on top of that, we're going to have a ton of available money. And on top of that, like part of the reason we're going to have a ton of available money is because, AJ Green probably isn't coming back next year. But in addition to that, Geno Atkins might get cut next year. And part of the reason I say that is because Geno Atkins went on IR.
Mm-hmm.
Geno Atkins just got sent to IR. So, I mean, not that he's been any good this year, not that he's been, helpful at all, but, there's one more thing we don't have against the Steelers this week. And it's like, in general, I try to be like, super optimistic, like rah, 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 pump them up kind of guy. But it has been so hard this year. There's just been almost nothing to grab onto. It's like, in the middle of the season, it wasn't so bad because, even though they weren't playing great, I still felt like, they can go somewhere, they can have a chance. And Joe Burrow was playing well regardless of how the team was playing. So it's like, hey, man, maybe we can turn this around and, whether maybe not even make a playoff run this year, but we can, have a run at the end of the year and maybe, have some momentum going into next year. But ever since Joe went down, man, it is just it's been hard. And whenever we've had to put Ryan Finley in the game, it just has not even been. There just hasn't even been any reason to really bother. Honestly, it's just like there's nothing to watch. And I'm sure you sitting through plenty of really bad seasons with really bad Browns quarterbacks, you can understand where I'm coming from on this one. It's like we got friggin' Derek Anderson starting or something.
Well, let me say this. I do think that it's because Monday's a home game, right? For y'all, Monday is a home game, correct?
It is a home game,
if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so excuse me. Hypothetically, Brandon Allen starts. Brandon Allen, man, I have no analysis on Brandon Allen at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen him play a couple of times. I'm sorry, not Brandon Allen, Ryan Finley.
Yeah,
I've seen him play a couple of times last year on, from observation. He hasn't really looked good to me at all. But granted, he only started. Wait, he only played what 13 games? 13 games. Oh no, sorry. He only started 7 games in his whole career. He only started 7 games in his whole career. That's that's not a lot of games. So there's always the chance that he could be better than the last game that you've seen him. That's like as positive as I could be right now. But I mean, like y'all are playing home. It is a night game. Strange things happen in football at night. And keep this in mind, Bengals fans. This is why you should watch. This is why you should watch on Monday. You do not have to be better than a team to beat them in football. You just got to be better than them that day. And I'm not saying the Bengals are going to win. I hope y'all win so the Browns can get back into this division talk. Excuse me, but I just I don't know. I wouldn't be terribly pessimistic if I'm a Bengals fan though, because even if y'all do lose this game and y'all don't really have anything much to cheer about for the rest of the season, y'all got a lot to cheer about next season because I don't think the Bengals are really that far off from being a playoff team. You guys have the offensive weapons. You have you have your running back. If he can stay healthy. You have a really solid running back. Might get another running back in the draft, maybe a 3rd or 4th round running back, maybe help back up Joe Mixon. You have a very solid running back. You have two really good receivers, and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. You have Samples, who is a really good tight end that we talk about a lot on this podcast. So which means that you got to upgrade your offensive line, and you got to upgrade your defense. And you could do just a few things here and there, then you guys would be, I think you guys would be right there knocking on the playoffs because you have your quarterback, but Joe Burrow is going to be great. Joe Burrow's coming. He's going to be fine. Joe Burrow's going to be fine. So like I look at this Bengals team, I'll say, oh, you guys not far. They're not far away from where they need to be. I don't think they're that far away.
Yep. So
as crazy as that sounds.
Okay, I'll agree with you that I think Bengals fans have a lot to be excited about. I'm definitely excited about the future. I just right now I want the future to be here. I'm kind of sick of what's going on now. But no, I totally agree with you. I do think there's plenty to look forward to. I don't know if I agree with you that the Bengals are super close to being a playoff team. I think they've got a lot of roster turnover that they need to do, but I also think that it's quite possible to do that roster turnover this offseason. So I think we could be a playoff team next year if we change enough, but there's a lot that needs to change. We've got to overhaul this offensive line. Now, we end up with the number 3 pick like we're probably going to get. We get Penny Sewell. I think Sewell is how you pronounce his name. It's Penny Sewell. You get Penny Sewell, and then you go hopefully get some really good interior offensive lineman. Like I keep saying Joe Tooney. That's my thought process. But some really good free agent guard to kind of solidify things in there, and then maybe you take another guard like kind of later in the rounds to kind of like back up behind Tooney and kind of learn and develop and stuff like that. And then suddenly you've got really great offensive line depth because, I've always felt like the vast majority of guys who are currently starting on the Bengals line would be great depth pieces. They're just not great starting pieces. Like Bobby Hart, like Michael Jordan. You got a lot of good options there. For depth, but not really good as far as starting. So if you can fix the offensive line, you can fix the defensive line because our defensive line is complete crap too. So, you got to fix both sides of the trenches, which are the most important parts of a football team, in my opinion. The most important player is the quarterback, but the most important part of the team is the trenches, I think. That's where the game's won, is in the trenches. And the Bengals are absolutely gutted in the trenches on both sides. So if you can find a way to fix both sides of the trenches this offseason, then sure, we can be a playoff team next year. But that's the problem. That's going to be really hard to fix in one offseason. It's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I agree. But I think I can do it. I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible.
I hope so, and I look forward to it. Let's
who knows? I might win this Sunday or Monday.
Well, you know what? If I would, okay. If we win Monday, I would be totally okay with winning on Monday, even if it kind of messes up our draft position a little bit, because I don't think it's going to mess up our draft position as much as people think it might. But if we win on Monday, I'll take that because even if it's Ryan Finley starting, a win against the Steelers is at that point, that's our Super Bowl. At this point, we're so bad.
It'd be hilarious.
Even just beating the Steelers would be winning the Super Bowl for us.
It'd be hilarious. It would be hilarious on so many.
It would be hilarious, and it would go to show, in my opinion, that the Steelers absolutely do not deserve all the hype they've been getting this year. I think the fact that they lost to Washington and Buffalo back-to-back has already kind of shown people that anyway, but it would just continue to confirm that. But anyway, let's move on to these Browns because the Browns are not playing a super marquee matchup this week, but it's an important one because the Browns really need a get-right game this week. And The thing is, if they don't get right this week, if they do lose to the Giants, who aren't completely, Chargers won.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Funniest shit ever. I just
Wait a minute,
watched
wait a
this
minute, wait a minute,
play.
wait a minute. You can't fumble into the end zone. You can't fumble into the
That's what
end
they
zone.
just did.
That should be on the 1 yard line.
That's what they just did. They just fumbled. They fumbled the ball. Ball goes in the end zone. They jump on it. That's a touchdown, isn't it? Because how's that not a touchdown?
Yeah, they're saying it's 3rd down, so that's not a touchdown.
Oh,
Because you can't fumble into the end zone. Like it's dead where it was fumbled. Although then again, a Raiders, I don't know. Yep. Okay. So anyway,
I just like the Ravens. The Ravens.
I was on the Browns. I was on the Browns. The Browns, if the Browns find a way to drop this game against the Giants team, which by the way has not looked like the Giants have most of the season, they've been looking better lately. And if the Browns find a way to lose this game, then y'all like after not winning. After not securing your number 5 seed against the Ravens, I mean, you guys still are in control of it right now. But if you lose to the Giants, you could be out of the playoffs this week. So
that's how
you guys
competitive the AFC. That's how competitive the AFC is.
Yeah, you guys could fall all the way from looking like a lock for the playoffs last week to being out of the playoffs this week if you lose the second game in a row. So this is a must win. Not that any game in the NFL isn't a must win, but this is a really serious must win.
I agree. I'm looking at this game. I'm thinking.
Chargers won.
I'm thinking. Well, I can't. Everybody's saying playoffs. I'm not saying playoffs until 60 minutes comes on week 17. And I am like, even then I'm gonna be like, oh, what happened for the Browns to not make playoff? Like, this game Sunday is very important. The game after Sunday against the Jets is very important. So I'm not taking either one of these teams lightly, even though both of these teams have not been really that good this year. Even the teams the Giants beat, I mean, like, they beat Seattle, but Seattle didn't have a defense. And Wilson looked bad. They gotta stay focused. And this team, if you talk if you listen to the interviews, they're not talking playoffs yet. They're not talking about playoffs. They're talking about New York, which is very important. That's why I love this team so much, because they're not flinching. Like, they're not flinching. Like, they every single time this team get hit in the mouth, they get back up and they come back swinging. And that's what I love about this team. Like, Kevin Stefanski really changed the attitude of that locker room. But I do like our chances this week. Obviously, I'm not gonna be arrogant about it. Because like you said, I just don't want to jinx us or anything. And I don't want to think about playoffs with the Browns yet. I don't want to even think about playoffs. I don't want to talk about playoffs with the Browns yet. I don't want to say anything about the playoffs until we make it to the playoffs. Until it's 100% official that we make the playoffs, I'm not talking playoffs. I am that paranoid I am about it. So
I understand.
I want to say this, man. The Browns, I expect them to win this game against the Giants. Obviously, I think I should save that for the prediction episode. But you got Freddie Kitchens. He's taking over offensive play calling because Garrett has gotten enforced to the COVID protocol. So that's going to motivate Baker Mayfield just that much more, and Jarvis Landry just that much more. And when you talk about the fact that the New Jersey Giants' strength is their defense, I don't think the Browns are going to have much trouble scoring on the Giants' defense. I don't think they will at all. The problem is the Browns don't have a good defense. But rumor has it Denzel Ward will be back this week. So you got Denzel Ward back. And Denzel Ward comes back. That makes our defense better. They have a depleted offensive line. You got to worry about Olivia Vernon and Myles Garrett running haywire on those quarterbacks. So basically it's like this. Baker Mayfield and Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Alex Hooper and David Njoku, and if they can score on these guys, then they should be able to win. And this is a team that just put up 42 points on the Baltimore Ravens defense. Because it wasn't our offense that lost the game. It was our defense. This offense is scoring anybody. So I'm not worried about offense this game. Because if you score, yeah.
No. Well, go ahead and continue.
No, if you score 40 points on the Titans and the Ravens, you can score at least 30 on the Giants. So I ain't worried about our offense. I'm worried about our defense. Yeah. But the Giants don't have offense. Even if they start Mr. Kite Runner, Colt McCoy. But even still, I like I said just 10 minutes ago, you don't got to be a better team in football. You just got to be a better team that day. So I'm not taking the Giants lightly because the Giants have beat some marquee opponents. So I'm not gonna say there's snooze on the Giants.
I definitely wouldn't sleep on the Giants, and you know why? Because let's see, what's the biggest thing that the Browns do well?
Run the ball.
Right. Do you know what the best thing that the Giants do?
Take away the run.
They stop the run, yes. The Giants are actually almost the Giants are basically equally as good at stopping the run as the Browns are at running the ball. The Browns the Browns have one of the better run offenses in the NFL. Not the best, believe it or not, but one of the best. They're third in yards that gained and sixth in yards per carry. The Giants are seventh in yards allowed and fifth in yards per carry allowed. So something's got to give here. They're almost kind of like reverses of each other. Like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are great, but are they great enough to have big days over the Giants? And if they don't, then how good is Baker Mayfield going to play if the Browns' run game isn't able to get going? Because the biggest thing that Baker Mayfield does well is thrive off of play action. So if they aren't buying the run because they're stopping the run, then if Baker Mayfield can play at an elite level this week, then I don't think you guys have anything to worry about. But if he can't because the run game potentially isn't functioning, okay, so if I was a betting man, we'll talk about this more in the predictions episode, but the Browns seem like the safer bet here as far as who's going to win, pretty obviously. But from a matchup perspective, this is definitely, I think, a game that's really pretty evenly matched as far as the way both teams are playing right now. And I think particularly because of, how good the Giants are at stopping the run, then I don't know. I mean, you still got the Browns defense and the Giants offense, and at that point, I think that matchup goes wildly in the Browns' favor. But then again, didn't look that great against Lamar Jackson. So,
for one, I don't think that Myles Garrett was fully back in shape during the Ravens game. So hopefully Myles Garrett haven't looked like Myles Garrett since he came back from COVID. So I'm not sure if he missed 2 weeks of working out or anything like that nature, but he doesn't. Hopefully he get back to that elite world breaker level. Maybe it's just the way teams have been playing him. I don't. When I look at this Giants team, how well are they against the pass? Out of curiosity.
No, I actually did not. I probably should have, but I did not look that up because I was honestly more worried about the fact that they were stopping the run.
So the problem is that you're right. The Titans ran into this problem. Is that they played the Browns run honestly. In fact, they played the Browns run super honest to the point where they were like, all right, Baker Mayfield's not going to beat us. And he threw 4 touchdowns in the first half against the Titans. So the Titans have a worse pass defense. But then I look at what he did last week against the Ravens, who have some really good corners on their team. How Baker Mayfield pretty much just shredded through their offense. But the thing is that it's not when you look at our running backs, you gotta account for them more than just running the ball, because they're not going to just run the ball on you. Kareem Hunt is one of the best pass catching running backs in the league. That's what makes him so dangerous. It's his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and his speedy ability. And those tight ends the Browns got, they're all very solid tight ends. Like we have three starting caliber tight ends on our team. That would start on most teams in the NFL. And you have all those weapons around him. And when Baker's clicking the way he has been the last couple of weeks, and the fact that he had 6 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, 7 you count the rushing touchdown. I just think that this is just going to be a signature Baker Mayfield game. I just think this is going to be a signature Baker Mayfield game. I think that he's like, because that kid, we talked about on this show Joe Burrow's mentality. We never talked about Baker Mayfield mentality. You talking about somebody who, yeah, he did.
Waking up feeling dangerous.
One thing about Baker Mayfield is that he doesn't forget things. For one, you're going against your old coach, Freddie Kitchens. Trust me, I guarantee you there is some sour grapes in those between those two. And I guarantee you, Baker Mayfield. Yes, he is going to be calling plays this Sunday. So the Browns are going to play against the kite runner, Colt McCoy used to play for the Browns, and Freddie Kitchens, Fat Forrest Gump, who used to coach the Browns. So with that said, Baker Mayfield is going to be juiced for that. He's going to be juiced for that. And Jarvis Juice Landry is going to be juiced for that too. So I just remember Baker Mayfield doesn't forget shit. And the fact that he's coming off a loss, you probably think about the fact that he's lost to Lamar Jackson. That's probably bothering him at night right now as we speak. It is. He's probably bothered by that. You're talking about a kid who was a walk-on twice in college football. And he wanted to nail it to his school every single day. His passion was proven to Texas Tech, but they did him wrong. This is the guy that lost to Ohio State at his home stadium 1 year. Remembered it for an entire year. Remembered the date, went ham on Ohio State and planted the flag on the 50-yard line that tells them, look, I'm the king here. Y'all not the king, I am. Now we're talking about a guy who's coming off a loss and have a chance to put the Browns in the playoffs for the first time in almost 20 years. I guarantee you, Baker Mayfield is going to be juiced for this game. I know you should always somebody's best effort, but we all know that you get better efforts one day than the other. I think this is going to be a signature Baker Mayfield game. I think Baker Mayfield is going to, it's not just about Baker Mayfield's mentality. It's also, I watched that Cardinals game, Giants game last week, and the Cardinals for me, I think the Cardinals are worse team than the Browns. And I think the Cardinals has been trending downward. The Cardinals just absolutely handed it to the Giants. And I was like, if the Cardinals could do this to the Giants, what can Kevin Stefanski do to the Giants?
That's true.
And I just could not. So I'm just thinking about how great of this coach, man, Kevin Stefanski, man. I didn't know what to take of him before the season. I didn't want to hop in his bandwagon yet. I am on his bandwagon. I have not talked enough about Kevin Stefanski on the show. He's another guy who's keeping the mentality on his team focused. He's a very level-headed guy. Man, I am nervous about this game. Don't get me wrong. I'm extremely nervous because I see that. But I am very confident they can win this game. I'm not arrogant about it. I'm very confident. They're going to win this game. I'm very confident just in what they have right now. I'm nervous because of our history, obviously. But when I look at everything that we have right now, and I look at this team and their mentality and how they have the hunger to never go back because everybody on his team been a part. Every one of the leaders on his team were a part of a bad Cleveland Browns season. Higgins was a part of that 0-16 team, and that fuels him every day. He's like, I want to win for these fans. Like, they remember that, and they see how close they are doing something great. And how they fought to get back in that game against the Ravens. There's not many teams in the NFL that could do what they did on Monday, and they almost won that game. Wasn't for that the defense messing up stuff, they would have won that game. This team got so much fight in them. This team got so much desire in them. This team got so much non-quit in them. Man, I don't think the Giants are ready for us, man. I don't think the Giants are going to be ready for us.
Well, I will say one thing the Giants may not be ready for, and this actually is a much better matchup than I expected. Now, from a run, obviously from a rushing perspective, I think the Giants and the Browns are pretty evenly matched. From a passing perspective, the Giants actually do rank about middle of the pack in basically every single category. As far as pass defense goes, the one thing they do pretty well at the one thing they do pretty well at in the passing game is they don't allow touchdowns. Now, I didn't check to see if that's because they allowed touchdowns in the running game, but that'd be weird considering they're so good at defending the run. But they've only allowed 18 touchdowns this year, which is fourth best in the NFL. So,
wow.
I would think that what that tells me actually is it's most likely going to be a low-scoring game. Which I think the Browns, with their ability to run the ball, I mean, we'll have to see about how the Giants defend them, but with the Browns' ability to run the ball, I would think that a low-scoring game would probably go in their favor because they can try to control the clock.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So that is a pretty. That's a good thing, I think, if you're a Browns fan, is you notice that the Giants are pretty much, like I said, as far as every metric goes, except for scoring, the Giants are middle of the pack as far as defending against the pass. So Baker Mayfield can hopefully do some damage there, and then you can utilize the run to kind of control the clock and keep the score of the game pretty low, and then the Browns can kind of strategize their way to a win.
And Baker Mayfield, you have opportunity to put yourself in the conversation of a top 10 quarterback in the NFL this week. That's how good you've been the last couple of weeks. His numbers the last 2 weeks have been very good against the Ravens and the Titans. I don't care who the Giants have on their defense right now. You should be able to handle the Giants. If you handle the Giants, Baker Mayfield, you'll be put in the conversation of top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Show everybody why you are a great quarterback and you could possibly be elite one day. Show us.
Well, let's also not act like. Let's also not act like.
But top 10?
No, let's also not act like the Tennessee Titans are a worthwhile defense to do anything against.
They're not. Well, their pass defense isn't good, but I mean, still, you put up, like they put up 40 on them though. Like
that's true.
Do it back to back. He did it back to you. If you quarterback a team to 40 points twice, you put up 80 points against 2 playoff teams last year. That's what they did. You can't sleep on that. That's like, I don't know. We'll see.
I suppose.
We'll see. They got it. I don't know.
Fair enough. But
I think that
Let's go ahead and move on to the state of the AFC North, though.
Okay.
Now, obviously, there's not much else to talk about with the Steelers because we already talked about them and how they relate to the Bengals. If for some reason the Steelers manage to lose to the Bengals, which I don't expect, but if that happens, not only does that raise a ton of question marks about the Steelers, but it also pretty much kills any hope of them regaining control over the playoff bye. And don't forget, there's only one bye week in the playoffs this year for each conference. So, I mean, if the Steelers do lose another game, I can't see any path. I mean, I already don't think they're going to get it, but if they lose one more game with only after this week, there's only 2 games left. So
Yeah.
you're pretty much done as far as potentially getting that playoff bye, which is going to be, which could be huge because it gives you a chance to rest.
Yeah.
The Ravens, on the other hand, they got a little bit more to fight for than just a playoff bye. But they are back in control of their destiny in the playoffs. Now, I mean, they got the Jaguars this week, and the Jaguars are not a good team, obviously, but they are scrappy, and they do play a lot of teams close. And they got Gardner Minshew back, so that's something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I mean, the Jaguars played you guys close. The Jaguars have played some teams close. They got they had one good win earlier this year. I'm not saying the Jaguars stand that much of a chance against the Ravens, but I would say it wouldn't be unthinkable to see them play them hard and maybe even like somehow sneak out with a win. And if that happens, then the Ravens would be back into the situation where they are no longer in control of their playoff fate.
Lamar Jackson, we talked about, me and Dante watched that. That's a great interview. If the Ravens went out, they get 11 wins. They'll probably make playoffs. In fact, I expect them to do it. I think the AFC wild card is going to be the Browns, the Ravens, and either the Colts or the Titans, depending on how these last 3 games go. But it's going to be those 3 teams. It's going to be the Browns, the Ravens, and a AFC South team. 11 wins should get you win. I think there's only going to be 3 teams that win 11 wins. I think Dolphins are going to fall off here. I think Dolphins are going to be the odd man out. The Ravens, I don't think they're going to lose this game. I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think if they were to lose any game, I think it would be the Giants. But I don't think they're going to lose that game either. But Lamar Jackson, honestly though, from a passing perspective, he hasn't been passing the ball really well, but he's been running the ball so well. Yeah. It's been great, but but
that's been his MO all year.
Yeah, but I really wonder how long he can sustain that. Like I can't keep that thought in my head. How long can Lamar sustain that here? Like I can see a Baltimore person watching this. Oh, you're a Lamar Jackson hater. No, I actually love Lamar Jackson personally. I'm just mad he plays against my rival team. I think he is freaking awesome. Like he's freaking awesome to watch. But considering the fact of, everybody say that he went to the locker room because he had to poop, but they're missing the more alarming the reason why he went to the locker room. He went to the locker room because he had cramps. Now, I think that's alarming because he is dependent on his leg, which means that a lot of times if anybody played an athlete, when anybody had been an athlete, and you ever do like a soccer tournament or ultimate frisbee tournament, a football game or whatever, when you put a lot of wear and tear on your body, in sports, and you're exerting yourself a lot, cramps are very likely to happen. Now you have a situation with Lamar Jackson literally putting a whole franchise on his legs, and we're late in the season. And it's tough, man. It's tough. I wonder how sustainable is that, and that's going to catch up to him eventually. No, that might not catch up to him this year, but that's going to catch up to him eventually. Like, and he got I don't know. He's awesome to watch. Don't get me wrong. He's so fast. He's so elusive. But he gotta get better at passing that ball. He got to get better at passing that ball because them legs aren't going to be there for him forever.
Right. I will say though, yeah. I agree with you to a point. I do agree that Lamar Jackson likely can't sustain this kind of level of play for a long extended career. Although I do think he's going to be fine for the rest of this year. Like I think he'll keep doing what he's doing.
I think he'll be fine for the rest of this year. I think like two years. I think by the end of next season or the season, I don't want to do the because look, again, I really do like Lamar Jackson. I don't want to. I don't want to. I hate him, but I love him. I freaking hate you, but you're freaking awesome at the same time. Like,
I don't like
I like that. Like at the same time, like that play. All right, so that play, the last play of the game last week, or second last play, we threw that touchdown. His last touchdown, I threw, right? He was going in the cornerbacks because people are. So you watch the play, the cornerbacks, they read the run because he had to scramble out the pocket. So the cornerbacks read the run. So they thought he was going to run. So the cornerbacks thought if we rush him in, we can force him down before the first down. Well, when the cornerbacks committed to him running the ball, he just threw it over their heads. I don't know how you're going to guard that. Like, I know the Browns defense was trash, but I don't know how you guard that. Like, I just don't. Like, I don't know how you freaking guard somebody that athletic. And it's just, for you, a phenomenal athlete. You gotta give him his respect, but I don't know how long you can do that while getting hit. I just don't.
I don't know.
I just don't know how long. It caught the Cam Newton.
I think as long as he is able to maintain doing that physically, I think he's an insane threat. That, I mean, you can never really count out the Ravens. I mean that. The Ravens are obviously a very flawed team, and Lamar Jackson is a very flawed quarterback, but you can never completely count them out when he is at his peak level of physical performance. I mean, you can definitely, I think you can definitely pick against them. You can definitely, strategize ways to beat the Ravens and stuff like that, but you're never going to be able to completely, like, have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens just not be a factor as long as he's still playing at the level that he's capable of playing.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's probably about it as far as this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast is considered. We will, if you're listening to this podcast when it comes out, then we'll have a predictions episode coming up for you pretty soon. If you're listening to this episode a little bit after that, the predictions episode's already up, so go listen to it now. Probably have some good content for you. We're actually about to record it right now. But if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe. Really helps us grow. Comment. Let us know if you think that the Bengals have any chance against the Steelers this week. Let us know. Do you think the Browns are going to, get like back on top of their crap and actually find a way to actually make the playoffs in I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought here, but instead of I think the Browns are going to make the playoffs, but do you think the Browns are going to make the playoffs? Do you think
I'm not saying shit.
Do what?
I'm not saying shit.
Yeah, well, Thomas ain't saying shit. But if you want to say shit, let us know down in the comments, please. Say something. If you got ideas about stuff that you want to see us talk about, please leave it in the comments. If you want to be on the show, leave it in the comments. Hit one of us up on Facebook or Twitter. You can find me at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter and Facebook.com/LaPhelps. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at T_star94. And on YouTube, he's Blowdown Page.
And if you're an attractive girl, leave it in the comments. But not if you're one of those fake models who just troll people, no. Like if you're like
one of those Facebook pages that just goes around like, I am a lonely person who's sitting at my house. What are you doing? Like
let's do a cam chat.
Yeah, let's do a cam that. Or something to do with downloading some app that they want you to get. I don't know. But
scams.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next episode. And Hoo Day.
Go Browns.